guys, welcome to Look Good, Feel Good podcast. We're going to get started today. We'll start with that. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So what's your name and tell us about what you do? I'll let you intro yourself.
Hey, well, good morning. My name is Kathi McKenzie. I am a residential real estate agent in the state of Missouri, so St. Louis area, and that's how a lot of people know me as Kathi McKenzie Realtor. That's my tagline everywhere. But I am local. I am a wife, a mom, a grandma, and kind of a fitness enthusiast, I guess. But yeah, that's me.
And you travel a lot.
I do travel a lot. Yes.
So what's the story with the traveling a lot? Is that just a passion thing? What do you love about travel?
Traveling, I just want to see places I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I want to go back and see places again that I didn't see long enough the first time that I was there. A lot of beautiful places in the world. I love the beach. I love hot weather. You will not catch me on an Alaskan cruise. I am sorry.
So you're not digging the weather today?
No, I'm not a fan of the cold weather. So I just put me on a beach somewhere and I'll be happy. But there are a lot of beautiful places in the world that I haven't seen, and my goal is just to see them.
Where's some of the cool, like what's some of your favorites, or maybe something that you want to go see?
Well, we're going back to Punta Cana in January. We'll be in Paris again in March. Maybe Ireland over the summer. So I don't know. We'll see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Has Paris one you've been to multiple times, or?
We went last year.
Last year? What'd you think?
It's everything that you think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything that you think it is.
I went there. It's been 20 years since I've been there. It's been a long time, but it was that's how I felt too. It was everything that you would think.
Yes.
You know, we didn't have nearly enough time to experience it. It's one of those, if I went back, like I would want, because we went around France, I would want 2 weeks just in Paris, just because I felt like you touched and then you left and then you touched, like to really absorb the culture and stuff. I would want a longer period.
Agreed. Yeah, it is a very fascinating place.
Yeah, I thought everything there was really cool. There was a friend of mine went there over the summer and posted photos. And I was like, it's definitely on the list of places to go back to.
Yes. See, that's what I mean. Go there and then go back if it just wasn't enough time.
Well, and I think too with the whole, you go there once, you're kind of learning. Like no matter where it is, you're kind of learning. We went to Cardiff, Wales last year, or year before last. Last year we went to Calgary, Canada, which that was like going to St. Charles. That was, the mountain was great, but the rest of it was like, it did not have the same, because there wasn't that culture shock or culture difference that when we were in Cardiff, wandering the streets, going to restaurants. I loved it. I love that European culture feel. Everybody's walking, everything closes, everybody's out having a good time in the evenings. Like, it was cool because we took some students, so to expose them to that culture too, they were like, whoa, this is like, it was so different. That was really cool. Whereas Canada, I was kind of like, I mean, it literally looked just like St. Charles. I had to laugh. I'm like, everybody's like, are you not having fun? I'm like, I'm having fun. It was a good turn. Everything was great. I was like, but the culture that we got last year is just not there. That was just such a cool part of the travel.
Yes.
So that's really neat. But you prefer warm places.
I prefer warm places. Now, Paris is not warm in March, but that's okay.
It's Paris.
Yes, it's Paris. It's all good.
Yeah. That's my thing. Like if someone were to say, hey, you won 2 trips tomorrow, you can go on an Alaskan cruise, you can go to a beach, hands down, I wouldn't even think about it. I'd go to the cruise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the beach, I don't know. It's never... I promised the wife and kids we'll do one because they're like, oh, that sounds great. I'm like, oh, it sounds horrible just sitting there. I don't know. That'll be something I'll have to overcome because but did you travel a lot as a kid or?
I did not.
Did not?
No, I did not. Put my head down, went through school, did all my sports, busy all the time. Didn't do a lot of family trips. And so, making up for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we did the same thing. We would do like in the state, or I go to a martial arts tournament once I started doing martial arts, but we never took like family vacations. It's always been one of those things. I was like, minimum once a year, we got to go somewhere. Got to go do something. Went to Vegas this year and took the kids. We had a business thing with martial arts there, but it was still, we found things for them to experience and them to see and to do that was fun. But that's something for me because I didn't travel. I feel like I got to.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah, you have to. if you can.
If you can, and I think too, it's a priority thing. If you prioritize it, schedule around it, it's totally doable. It just is something if people want to. Obviously, yourself, it's something you really love.
Yes.
Now you said fitness enthusiast.
So yes, and the ladies can kind of relate to me. So I've always been into fitness. I've always worked out. It's kind of been my thing, but I've gotten really a lot more serious about it the last couple of years. And I think sometimes as you get older, life isn't as friendly to women.
Yeah.
Like, I think men age so gracefully. I mean, a lot of men look significantly more handsome as they get older. Women, that's not the case necessarily. And so we look in the mirror and we're like, oh my gosh. And so I started lifting a lot more than I used to. So I used to be cardio. I used to be a fitness instructor. It was cardio, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, and things just don't improve. You think that they would stay and no, it's not like that for women. So we have, a fraction of the amount of testosterone that men have in their body. And
testosterone's a game changer for us.
Oh my gosh. And so you men, I am so jealous. You can lift like 5 reps and be, busting at the seams, and women have to do it for 5 months, right? So I started lifting a lot heavier. So I'm in the gym multiple days a week, lifting pretty heavy. Gained about 10 pounds of muscle. So
nice. Congrats.
Yeah, I know. So the scale went up, not down. I mean, it went up and down.
Yeah.
But now it's going up for the right reasons. So, yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of people forget that too. When they step on the scale and it's going up, they don't do the measurements and the things that are necessary to see that, oh, well, I'm getting stronger. And I think it's ingrained in so many of our heads too, that the scale's got to go down. And, but like you said, the testosterone thing, it's unfair because there's that meme that floats around. It says, husband, wife, why husband switched from soda to water, lost 15 pounds, wife switched, lost like 0.00.
Yes.
And it's very true.
It's very true. Yes. The way that women hold their weight and how their hormones regulate their body is very different than men. So,
yes.
And you learn as you get older. I mean, some people don't care. I mean, I have a preference of how I want to look, and this is how I'm going to look. And if I have to kill myself in the gym, that's what I'm going to do to look that way. So, so it's a work in progress. But
well, I think for a lot of people too, you got to find what you like to do and what's going to work with your body type too.
Yes.
With what you're doing. That fits your lifestyle. I think so many people get hung up on something and they go just hardcore on it, even if it's not something they really love. Like, oh, I'm in the gym and I feel good because they see people in the gym. And then after 3 months, they burn out. Or after 3 weeks, they burn out because they're not finding something that's suitable. I've told a lot of people, I've been toying. I did carnivore, lost 20 pounds, felt great. But then with my martial art classes, I don't have the fuel. I don't have the stamina to run all these classes every night as high energy as I am. And that's how I want to be. I don't want to not be high energy. So I've been working on finding exactly what I can and cannot eat to maintain where I feel good. Not so much look good in the mirror, but feel good. And then what I can add in workout-wise that doesn't deplete me too much, like keeps me going and that I enjoy. I went to doing kettlebells at the house over going to the gym and lifting weights, and I feel better. I like it better. Am I going to have as large of a chest, whatever? No, but that's not really my goal. So it's a big thing with finding out what it is you like.
Yes, very much so. And then in diet, you mentioned diet. So diet is a large component. It's another reason why I think people burn out.
Yes.
I had the diet part down. So I've been vegan for many years, like decades.
And it works well for you.
And it works well for me. So I do get my protein. But so that wasn't really an issue for me. I mean, it was just the changing how I did my workouts and what I did and the number of days that I worked out.
Now, do you go like every day? What was it you found worked for you?
So I go. I'm religiously 4 days a week if I'm not traveling.
Yeah.
But religiously 4 days a week. So Monday night is my cardio. Anybody who is friends with me on social media, they'll see my Monday night cardio posts. Monday night is cardio. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I lift. Being in real estate, I'm a little bit busier, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I try to get in one more day between then.
Yeah.
But 4 days a week at minimum.
Nice. And that works for you.
That works for me.
And see, everybody, that's the thing I think everybody's got to find, that thing that really fits them. Like I found, I throw my ruck bag on, I walk, I shoot my little video that I make every day. I feel great from it. I've maintained, even when I kind of go off the rails of my diet, because I started adding things back in, trying to figure out what really works for me for maintaining that energy level. But I found with the rucking, I'm burning enough calories. I get my exercise. I get fresh air. I get sunlight. I get the things that I want. My dogs love it. If we miss one day, oh my goodness, you would think that I was selling them to a farm somewhere, the way they mope around the house. I'm like, guys, I had a morning meeting. I'm sorry. We'll try to make it up this afternoon. I'll stop doing something. I'll go turn around. I'll trip. They're behind me. They're like, is it time?
Yes.
But it's finding that thing that works. I think that's where so many people go wrong is they'll see yourself or they'll see someone else doing it, like, oh, I'm going to do that. Well, does it work for you? Do you even enjoy it? I've got friends that religiously go and just do weightlifting at the gym, static lifts. They love it. They're in great shape. I absolutely would, being a painter is a bad one to say, but I'd rather watch paint dry. I have tried, but now if you give me box jumps and hurdles and kettlebells and stuff that, body weight, movement things, I love it. I love the challenge of it. And I find with martial arts and what I do, it keeps me mobile too. And that's something my goal hasn't always been like a fit, like a certain weight or a certain size. It's more, I want to be that guy that's like 75 and is still out there kicking and doing stuff and training. So I'm always thinking like that long term.
Yes, agreed.
And that's I think something as we get older we think about and we wrap our head around more too, is like that longevity. Several of my friends that are below the age of 40 look at things a little differently than a bunch of my friends that we've all turned 40 or a little over 40 kind of tend. I notice we seem to have like at least men seem to have this more like a mortality thing kind of kicking in of, I got to eat right and work out better because, I'm over 40, like, because when we're 19, you're like 40, dang, that's old. And then when you get there,
40's just a baby.
Yeah, when you get there, you're like,
just a baby.
Damn, I don't feel too bad now, But you start thinking of mortality, you start thinking of things differently at that age, I think, and that's huge for most people. I think when they hit that spot, I always feel bad when they're younger, and I try to talk to a lot of my students about that too. Like, hey, think about these choices you're making, because I mean, if you're vegan, you must prep and do most of your food at home, or have you found places you can eat and things?
Oh yeah. If you're vegan and you live in the St. Louis area, you know where to go, where not to go. Yeah. Some people will say, "Oh, I stopped here and it's not a place that I would ever go or frequent." Yeah. And I was like, I didn't even know that was there. You drive by it 10 times a day and you don't know it's there because it's just not a place. It's not on your radar. So there are places on our radar that we know, certain foods that we can eat. So I do eat home a lot. Yeah. I do eat out a lot. It's just, you just know what making to order and where to order, making the choices. And it's not really a big deal. I think people make it more of a big deal than it is. Like, oh, I could never do that. Well, you can. I mean, you just don't want to. And why? I mean, you have to have a reason for it also. Like, what's your purpose, right? So
for years, I've tried to stay away from packaged foods, prepackaged, anything like that, and just eat at home, cook the food. Mm-hmm. And people, it's funny because people will say, I don't know how you do that. I'm like, I don't know how you sit in one of them lines at a fast food restaurant. I wouldn't do it. That honestly, that keeps me thinner than anything, because I'll pull up, I'm like, I ain't sitting in that line. I'll drive. I'm too impatient. I can't. But I'll go home. As long as I've got food ready, boom, I'll eat. Yeah. I think the other mistake people make too is they think food's the enemy. Good food's not the enemy. Oh, no. So many people will be like, oh, I'm cutting back. I'm doing that. Well, if you eat really good stuff, you don't have to starve.
You don't have to cut back.
No. You can eat good food all the time.
And you can eat not good foods also. Like, I'm a Starbucks freak. Like, I mean, I tell you what, my kids would be like, you know how many grams of sugar are in that? Well, I cut back. Like, I don't do the double, triple, quadruple 8,000 pumps of whatever, but there is a little bit of sugar in it, but that's my treat. That's like my treat. Some people want a bag of chips. Yes. Some people want a candy bar. I want a Starbucks.
And you got to have your treat. That's the one thing people forget too, is they think when they do stuff, they got to just get rid of everything. And it's like, no, you got to have a treat.
No.
One of the things that I always found, I like bar food, like salty foods and stuff.
Yum.
So that would be my like treat when I was cutting weight for a fight or just doing whatever. That would be my one thing is the end of the week. And what we would do at home is make like a healthy version of a pizza, cauliflower crust, whatever, but it still gives me my treat. I got my pizza. Mm-hmm. I feel good, you know, because you know when you're eating clean and you just go get like you go get something.
Oh my gosh, Papa John's.
But,
I mean, no offense to Papa John's,
yes.
but like the last time I had Papa John's, it was like I didn't feel well.
No. We stopped on the way to a tournament. The kids were whining. We were somewhere and we got McDonald's. Now, I grew up like that was a treat. My mom, we lived on Falmouth. Hey, you get your stuff done. We'll take you to McDonald's, get you a Happy Meal. Like
Sure.
I lived on that stuff.
Sure.
My wife looks back now. She's like,
Same.
when we started dating, how did you live? She goes, you drank Mountain Dew and ate because I was single. I didn't like cooking for just me. Okay. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I lived. Because now it's like if I go without my gallon of water a day, I'm like,
well, you lived because you were young and
Yeah,
healthy,
yeah,
but that
yeah.
catches up with you when you're in your
Yes.
40s and 50s.
Yes.
Hence the lifestyle changes that we see a lot of people make in their
Yes.
40s and 50s.
well, and I think there's so many, you know, people talking about it and pushing out their, you know, hormones, different things that, you know, you poor ladies and your hormones. I mean, what it does, my mom would switch medications and like adjust one little thing and would not be eating bad. She doesn't eat out and she would gain a ton of weight. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I never understood it. But for you ladies, you got even bigger battle there than just that, mm-hmm. that men don't have to deal. You know, we take some testosterone. I do a thyroid and a testosterone. It makes a huge difference for me. Mm-hmm. But the hoops my wife goes through on some stuff, it's like, good Lord, because it's, your bodies are hard on you guys.
You know, they are. Nature likes to keep us well cushioned in many places. We don't want to be well cushioned.
And I think that's part of it too, though, that
Yes.
it is nature too.
It is nature.
Yes.
It is natural. Yes. So we protect the areas that need to be protected for childbearing. And,
Yes.
you know, but that's fine. You work with nature, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, that's just... And everybody has their own ideal in their mind, what they want to look
Yes.
like. Maybe once upon a time it wasn't what I look like now, but you know, I want to be bigger now. I want to gain more muscle. I want to be curvier.
Yeah.
I like that. Once upon a time, maybe I didn't want to be. I wanted to be, you know, a lot of people want what they don't have, right?
Yes.
You know, so it's just a matter of what you see that you want, and then what it's going to take to get there.
Like, and that's completely true because it does change. When
It
I was
does.
competing, when I compete more, I need to be a little heavier because with the forms of things we do. So the year we competed in Cardiff, I dropped weight 'cause I fought and I did my forms. I kept being told, look good, need more power, put on 20 pounds for the next year. Not all, like it was, I just ate and worked out and was up like right under 20 pounds. And at the end of the competition, everybody's like, man, like, power looked good. I had several people come up to me and say that, and I was like, cool, goal hit. And immediately I started cutting down on what I ate because I wasn't comfortable. I didn't like being closer to 180. Mm-hmm. Now my goal is, since I've just given up and started shaving my head, I told my wife, I have abs. I was like, I gotta be a little leaner. If I can't grow hair, I at least gotta be like a healthy bald guy that people are like, oh, okay, he's doing it because he just likes everything to be clean and he eats clean. I was like, I was like, I can't be one or the other. I say, you're gonna have hair and a belly, or I gotta be like completely lean and shave my head.
Lean and shave your head.
She's like, whatever. She's like, whatever. She was laughing at me. I'm like, I'm just saying that's where my goal's at right now.
Trust me, she probably likes you leaner with the shaved head.
She just was laughing. I just had a good chuckle out of it. I was like, that's my goal. That's what I'm doing. But people do.
Yeah,
People's goals changes.
It changes in life, just like anything in life. What, you know, if you think about it, when you go to college, your major changes. You decide that you want to do something else, and you change it 2, 3, 4 times, and then you get into your career field. I wasn't a real estate agent my entire life.
Okay.
I started out in finance. I became a teacher, so I was a high school teacher, and then I decided I wanted to go into real estate. A lot of people, they change their career paths, and maybe not significantly into a completely different field, but sometimes it is, and that's okay. And then it changes with how you how you look at yourself and how you handle yourself and hold yourself and your diet and your physicality and all of that. So it's, humans we evolve. And we evolve into
Greatly.
what we want and what we think and what we know.
I've heard the term I've heard a lot lately is the season of life. This season of life you're in this is your goals. This is where you're at right now. And I was like, I like that because I've always been accomplish a goal, challenge. I've had different jobs. I've had different things over the years. And where your goal, where your mindset is at that time is different. Mm-hmm. And I feel like as you get older, you do look at things a lot differently. And sometimes people kind of frown at, oh, well, you used to do this, now you do that. Well, yeah. Like I've moved my martial arts school before. I've changed the city it was in. I've changed the direction of what we teach based on where I'm at. When I opened the school, I was 28. I'm 42. So I teach things a lot differently than I did then because I've had 15 years of, almost 16 years now of learning and lessons and training people to black belt and working with kids with different disabilities, whatever it is, to make me look at how I do things a little differently. It's just that part of life we go through. And I think sometimes people in this day and age, like when they see someone take a change or do something like that, they're like, oh, they failed. And it's not a failure. It's just a pivot.
It is. It's a pivot.
What got you into real estate?
Oh, boy. So I was living in Michigan at the time.
Uh-huh.
I'm from Michigan, moved to St. Louis, moved back to Michigan. Now we're back again.
Okay.
Long story. But at the time, it was 2017. I was teaching in Michigan, and I wasn't in a district that I was happy with. I wasn't in a classroom that I was happy with. And I thought, well, I've always wanted to do real estate, so I'm going to take the summer, get my license, and see how I do. And it was just... that was it. I never went back. It's been very good to me. I think I was a very good teacher. Mm-hmm. I'm not great at a ton of things in life, but when I'm good at something, I know I'm good at something. So I was a good.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's a lot of people that, oh, that's arrogant. No, there's nothing wrong with admitting you're good at something. I'm a great teacher. That's why I didn't go into teaching in schools because I knew martial arts was my calling.
Sure.
But I'm a good teacher. I can teach anybody.
Yes, exactly. So when you're good at something, I was a very good teacher. I can teach people in a different way through real estate because buying and selling is very stressful. Not everybody is comfortable with it. It's not always your second or third or fourth rodeo. And it's another way for me to teach, as fitness was another way for me to teach. I don't do that any longer. I'm just me, myself, and I at the gym. But those are all ways for me to teach.
Yes.
And so I got my license, and lo and behold, I was not just good, I was very good at it, and I really liked it, and I love it, actually. I absolutely love it. I have so many wonderful clients. I have so much fun with them. I don't think transactions should be a battle. I mean, there are some agents out there that I would prefer to never work with in my life because they will come at you like a ram. They like the confrontation. It's either their way or the highway. They don't understand that when you buy or sell property, at the closing table, both parties should be happy.
Yes.
I mean, they really should. This shouldn't be.
It's not a small transaction.
It's not a small transaction. It should be agreeable. But there are some of these agents that are they're disgusting. In my mind, I think that they are. I don't think they're great human beings, and they make. I would never want to be their client.
Hey guys, Master Matt here. Excited to let you guys know about the launch of the Boyer Academy podcast. So over the last year, I've had a lot of experience with podcasting and have fallen in love with it. And we're going to bring you, for the year of 2025, a brand new podcast from Boyer Academy. We're going to feature martial artists from all around the world that are friends of mine. We're going to bring in coaches, instructors, martial art legends. I mean, we're going to blow you guys away with this. And one of the coolest parts of this podcast is you're going to get to meet members of our pro team, members of our leadership staff, members of our production staff, members of our Black Belt Academy, and you're going to hear their stories of competing, going to tournaments, training at Boyer Academy, the stories that shape the culture inside Boyer Academy. And most importantly, we're going to be bringing in parents to talk about the life-changing things that have happened with them through Boyer Academy, the lessons their children have learned, the lessons maybe they have learned, what it's like to be a member of Boyer Academy and how awesome it is. And this is going to be a way for you guys to not only see and feel and live what Boyer Academy is, but really get to feel it. So make sure you follow the Boyer Academy podcast and all the awesome things coming to you, because we're going to be bringing you some stuff that will blow you away in 2025.
I'll tell you that. I mean, they may look fierce and just, like a battling ram, but at the end of the day, I would never want to do a transaction with them if I was their client or on the other side. So that's not the way I look at it. I look at there's a happy medium, and when closing day comes, I want everybody to be happy, not just my clients. So, and there's a method to the madness, and there's a way to get through that and to that, and I help people and teach them, and I make my sellers money, and I save my buyers money, and you can do all of that without just being a despicable human being.
Yeah. Well, and you don't have to just lay it down, taking the time to have that empathy and talk to people and walk them through things is important.
It is important.
And so many things, I want to say clickbait, but catchy reels and stuff on the internet are like, you got to go in and do this. You got to,
I do those catchy reels.
Well, no. I'm saying the ones that are like, you got to go in, you just got to lay it out. This is how it's going to be, or this. I find that in any business. We recently had basically parent-teacher conferences to lay out our plans for next year at the school, show this new upgrade program we're offering. And it took me 3 weekends, 12 hours a day each weekend, sitting down with every single student and every parent and talking about their plans, their goals, where their kids are at. I had 9 people say, I think after first year we're done. The kids are kind of into it, but I think we're going to try something. Awesome. Good luck to you. We talked. I put a video up in our group, our private group for school year day. I'm like, hey, if you guys told me after first you're leaving and we didn't move you to the new, please come to the Christmas party still. I'm not mad at you guys. I hope when you guys left, you knew that I support whatever decision. I'm glad we talked. We know where we're all at. I've always been that type of person with going through things instead of just coming at that, like you said, like a battering ram with it. And if I were selling a house and I had say I had my agent and then the other agent was coming at us like that, I would hate that.
It's just, it's not a comfortable place to be, and it's already a stressful transaction for a lot of people.
Yes.
And that's just not how I maneuver. I mean, most people can't outmaneuver me anyway, but I just don't maneuver that way. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, because I love what I do, I want the people that I work with to also have a good feeling about working with me and what we've done together.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, and it is a very stressful transaction for most people. It's very rare. I paint for a lot of people that are selling or buying. And so many times you come across people that are so emotionally attached. I've had them come in before and been like, hey, I want you to paint the house, but this one door frame, we kind of notched the kids' heights on. Let's leave that. And I'm like, your agent's going to want that painted. I get it. You're emotional. Let's maybe pop that board off, have someone throw a new one. The process is for some people very hard. Elderly couples that maybe are moving in with a child, or there's just so many different scenarios that I've been there and I've walked through things, or, I've had to call agents before, been like, hey, they want their closets dark gray. I told them they probably should call you before they have me do something goofy like that when they're selling it. Well, I've always wanted that. Yeah, but you're selling the house. So, yes. But you have to handle it. You have to walk. And normally when I walk through and I talk to people like that, and I'm like, hey, reach out to your agent, talk to them. I've had them before where they're like, we want the whole house painted. I'm like, this place is in great shape. I would talk to your agent before you pay me $7, $8, $9, whatever it is, $1,000 to paint it, because you might not get that back.
Yeah.
And they'll, because I'm probably the only guy that told them that. I'm like, literally there's 3 scuff marks. You guys can go get a touch up, or if the house is very dated, investors are buying, or whoever's buying it's going to rehab it.
That's right.
You don't need to, you either need to go all out or you need to just let someone come in.
Yes.
You got pink carpet. I don't think painting the walls, the hot gray that's out right now, is going to help you sell.
Well, I mean, it depends, but yes, usually there is, as I say, there is a method to the madness, and every transaction is unique, and every property is unique, and every situation and buyer seller is unique. So it's a matter of figuring out what works for that client and that property at that time. And it's not a one size fits all answer.
Oh, no.
It is not a one size fits all answer. And it's always about, and it's never about the transaction. It's always about the client. So you want to think about what's in the best interest of the client, not just, we have to update this house. We have to update, you don't have to update everything.
No.
You should clean it.
Yeah.
You should clean it,
yes.
Top to bottom, front to back. Everything should be clean. But, it's not, you have to think about what is in the best interest of the client, because not every transaction and property is the same.
No, and like you said, it's not one size fits all at all.
No.
I constantly have clients call, hey, can you throw me a bid? Here's the address. No, I need to come see the house.
Sounds like me.
what do you mean? I'm like, and if it's one of those, like, for agents, it's different because they understand the business and they'll been in the house and they'll be like, yeah, this one's been smoked in, or yeah, there's some things you might want to see. Like, a lot of my agents would reach out and be like, you probably want to walk this one. Like, well, what's your timeline on this? Because it might be easier for me to give you a roundabout and then us just be open to, if we get in there and there's water damage, something else, like, depending on what the schedule is, because they're trying to show homes, everything else. Sometimes us meeting up's inconvenient.
Yes.
But we get people to try that. Well, or they'll send me just, it's a 9x9 bedroom. I'm not going to bid off that. I need to see it, because those are the ones that have Crayola crayon all over them. There's always oops, forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
But it's not a one size fits all.
No.
I looked at one the other day that I was told had smoke damage. It did in the living room. Rest of the house was perfect. The lady probably never leaves her living room. So if I would have bid it off of the email I got, it would have been a lot higher, because I would have just naturally assumed the whole house had it. Well, really, we just need to do a little kills in the living room. It's nothing excessive. Yeah. Just wasn't built up nicotine on the walls. Like, I've went in some that were, they were bad. And but again, you have to go in and see where the client's at, see what they're trying to do, talk to them. It's that part of business is so important. And some people have it, some people can learn it, and some people just don't have it, though.
No.
Some people just are clueless. I'll be like, did you catch any of that? Different people I've worked around, they're like, what do you mean?
No,
like,
there are many people that are not good in business. They are in business, and
they're at the mathematics, the back end, like that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I know people like that. I know real estate agents that are like that. I mean, there are over, last time I checked, 8,000 real estate agents in the St. Louis area. There are over 26,000 in the state of Missouri. About 40% of all agents across the U.S. have sold one or no homes in 2023, and 70% have sold 4 or less homes.
Wow.
So the agents that are out there, you've got about 30% of those agents that actually kind of sort of know what they're doing, and probably more like less than 10% that are actively buying and selling with their clients on a regular basis. So there is a lot of information out there, and it's not a one size fits all, and you're not going to get the same answer from every agent either, because every agent has a different perspective. So it's just a matter of trying to do what's best, again, not for the property, but for the client.
Yes. Well, and it seems like I've had several different agents on over the year of the podcast here, and it seems like those of you that do well and have a good reputation take that mindset of working with and educating and helping your customer, helping that client do good seems to be, it seems to be overwhelming of most successful people, is that if you really take that to heart of what's best for those people, that person, over just selling them into a one size fits all product, that doesn't work.
No.
You've got to know where they're at, where they're going, what the situation is, where there's just so many working variables. And if you don't have the empathy to take that time and talk to that person and learn that, what good are you?
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's a way for me to help and teach. And that's essentially that's what I do. That's what I love. I think that's what a lot of people do when they value the client business relationship. They want what's best for the client.
At what point, because I would venture to say with what you've achieved and with fitness and health, that you're a pretty driven person. Has it always been that way? And at what point did you kind of realize that it is about educating and working with that customer, whether it's in this job or previous job? Like when did you realize that that's something that meant something to you?
Well, for real estate, so yes, I'm a driven person. I think it's just, if it's in your nature, it's in your nature.
Yes.
It's part of who you are and your personality, and it's just the way you are and the way you think, and how you were born, and whether you're a Leo or a Scorpio or whatever. There's 20 different ways a Sunday to look at it, but you are who you are. I am a driven person. A lot of real estate agents I know are driven people. When I switched from being a teacher into real estate, for me, I just wanted something different. I wanted something that I could do and be happy about. And for me, that's helping. And so getting into real estate, first of all, real estate is not what you think it is. If you're not in real estate, and then if you ever get into real estate, you're like, this is real estate? I mean, it's not what you think it is. And so I got into real estate, and I didn't know, and I'm the kind of person that's used to knowing, right? I know what I know, and I didn't know. I knew what I didn't know because I was in real estate as a brand new agent.
Yeah.
And so one of the things for me is, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. One of the biggest pieces of information that a real estate agent gives to their clients when they're listing a house is suggested list price, right? And then when you're going to buy a house and somebody, what should I offer? Is the house worth it? Suggested offer price. And so those two things were kind of rolling around in my head. And I will tell you, most real estate agents and most brokers have no clue how to price a property. And so for me, it was, in the beginning, I said, I have to figure this out. So I started doing appraisals. So I started working for a bank as a real estate agent. So I would be a third-party appraiser for a bank, and I started figuring out, how do we look at these numbers? How do we value a property? Because back in the day before 2020, so I started in 2017, it was a matter of appraisal price. Will your offer match appraisal, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was still that after, but just in a different direction. So I wanted to figure out appraisal. How do we figure out what the appraisal price is? There, again, is a method to that madness. There is a very specific formula. There's a grouping of formulas that appraisers will use to price a property. So I had to figure that out. For me, I just needed to know, how do I do this for my clients? How do I make them the most money? How do I save them the most money? How do I get them the property without overpaying? And how do I maximize the value of this property on closing day for my clients? So I learned that, and I bring that with me. So again, I guess it's part of me being driven. I want to know how to do the right thing. And I figured it out. And when I was on a listing consultation yesterday, and I was explaining to the client, we should probably understand appraisal value versus market value, because they may or may not be the same thing.
In this day and age, yeah.
Yes. So I kind of have that talk with my clients. A lot of agents I've heard do not have that talk with their clients.
Well, it's educating them.
It's educating them. And then that's just kind of how I go about my business. But yes, I'm driven to do the right thing at the right time, to know the right information, to give my clients the right information. Selling a property as is not going to be the same as selling it, because we have to contend in the St. Louis area with these things called occupancy inspections, which drive me insane. But selling a property as is not the same as selling a property with an occupancy inspection, a past occupancy inspection. And you're in two different pricing categories, and then you have to explain that and explain, okay, well, appraisal value might be a little, there's just so many moving parts. And for me, I need to know how to navigate all of that information with my clients so that they make the most when they sell the property, or save the most when they buy the property.
Yes. Well, and doing so builds so much value and rapport with your client too. I could tell you from being on both sides of that coin with different whatever business ventures, whatever it is, when someone is honestly doing it with your best involved, like when they want what's best for you, and you truly know that, it's a totally game changer. Now, with being driven, is that something that you've always been, like in high school sports, whatever it is in life? Have you always been that way? I've noticed that I didn't notice it till later on in life, that I've always been pretty driven at things and never have been. You meet a lot of people that things will happen. They'll do something. Oh, I messed up that email. Or, oh, I did this. Me, I can't accept that. I not from other people, but for myself. Like if I make a mistake, I need to learn, I need to correct, or if I'm going to do something, I need to know everything about it.
Is that being driven, or is that being a perfectionist?
I would say it's being driven because I understand that perfect doesn't really exist.
Okay.
I don't look at anything to be like, oh, that was perfect, but I don't accept making mistakes or failing at things. If I do it, I look at it going, what could I have done different? If I have an issue with a product, say it's a paint job on a house, I have an issue with a product. How can I correct that next time? What was the issue with the product? I want to go out. I want to see what happened. I want to see what the product is. I want to research it. I want to know so that the next time I have a customer request something, I can explain. And they don't always want to hear it. Sometimes they just want you to throw something on there and move on with your day. And those are not my clients. I know that real quick when I meet them and start talking to them. If I could see it shutting down, that they don't really want to know about any of that, I'm like, I'm good. Why we're using this material? But I find that some people are just okay with failure or okay with making a lot of mistakes. Be like, okay, you did this. This was the result. It could have been corrected by this, but no, let's blame it somewhere else. And I seem to find a correlation with driven people that work hard and achieve greater things. They don't accept that level of failure of, okay, if I did this and it didn't work, how can I correct it? Not who can I blame? That sound right? That makes sense. Like, have you always like seen yourself as kind of like?
I think I've always been driven, but I've become more driven the older that I've gotten. It's.
I agree. I feel the same way.
Yes. So it's not, again, and it's the changes in life when you have a different perspective, and when I had 3 little kids running around the house, I wasn't driven to be, the best of whatever. I was driven to be the best mom and take care of so I think it's just, but yes, I have always been driven. So for me, but it's more than just being driven. It's being happy.
Yes.
Because I, as a teacher, and teacher friends and teachers out there, that you work really hard and you do a lot of good work and you put in a lot of time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears for these kids in this district that you're in for a minute compensation, and sometimes, and it gets very taxing. And so you want to be happy also. It's not just a matter of being driven to be the best of whatever. It's being happy. I walked away from the classroom. I used to be at school at, 6:45, 7 a.m. and then you don't leave until the wee hours of the day. And then I'm sorry, I don't do mornings anymore. I mean, I did not change careers so I can be somewhere at 7 a.m. I do go places at 7 a.m., but it's not a daily thing anymore. So part of me is being happy because I don't want to be out of bed and out the door. I'm not a morning person. I have never liked that. So part of me being a real estate agent is me being happy. I don't work out in the morning. I work out at night. Yeah. Right? I don't do early morning meetings anymore. I do them mid-morning, late morning, afternoon, evening. So it's just making a difference in my life while still being successful, but also being happy, because you can be successful and not be happy.
Very much so. Well, and being a driven person too, or maybe even driven's a wrong word, but you assess that about yourself. You made the change and you went, okay, I'm going to be a realtor. I'm going to sell real estate. I'm going to make sure my schedule is accordingly to what works for me. I have my painting company. I've dropped it way down to where it's just a couple guys working for me now, because fighting with customers, showing up on job sites when superintendents have lied about jobs being ready, to argue with them, employees, oh man, I'm not feeling good. Yeah, it's Monday. I know, you're hungover. Like that type of stuff. I realized that's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be at the martial arts school teaching. And so I redirected all my effort into that. I wanted to work there in the evenings where I could get up in the morning. My wife takes the kids to school, or I can take the kids to school. I can get my workout. I can kind of get myself right for the day and then do it. I find that your driven individuals, the ones that don't seem to accept excuses. Your average person would be like, well, but I make a living at this, I'm not going to pivot. And they would just stay doing it and hate it. And, oh yeah, it's our week at work, this sucks. I feel like there's a growing number of people that would step away and say, you know what, this isn't working. I'm going to make a turn. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to change things up because I can be successful and happy. I don't just have to be. When I've mentioned this to people, I'm downsizing that and going up in the academy, they're like, doesn't the painting company do over $1 million a year? I'm like, yeah. How can you do that? I didn't say I take home $1 million a year, as a damn business makes it. Like, I ain't taking that home, but I don't like it. I ask a lot of people, I'm like, tell me a contractor that's in his 60s or 70s that's happy. And they're always like, oh no, they're all grumpy. I'm like, yeah, I figured out there's a reason for that. This business model sucks. Like, I painted houses and did great. Just me, had a couple realtors I worked for. It was easy. I took good care of them. That was great. And then as the company grew, all these other pieces fell in place. So I made a pivot. Teaching, you made a pivot. I feel like the driven ones, or the ones that want more than just what we're told we can have, are not afraid to make those pivots and are not afraid to adjust things in life to fit. Like you said, you want to be happy. You seem very happy. That's good.
I am very happy.
My wife the other day is like, hey, because I come home, I go to sleep. I'm like, I realized since I've downsized the painting company, and it's pretty well just a couple guys, all my energy's at the school where I'm working with my students, doing all this stuff. I'm not stressed and having trouble sleeping. I come home, go right. Yeah. I go to sleep pretty easy now. Whereas when I had both going, or the paint company is big, and I had a lot of that stress on my mind, it was different. With the school, the stress I have at the school is like helping students or little things. It's not stress. It's trying to do what's best or help them. Because I have 200 students, every single person.
Well, it's a different kind of stress. There's stress everywhere, and it's not, exactly. And it's how you handle the stress and what you want as a result. So, yeah, it's. And a lot of people think that they can't make changes, or they're afraid to make changes, or what will people think if they make these? Well, who cares what people think?
Yeah, I've always been blessed with that. I don't care.
I used to care what people think because, I always had, you have to deal with the students and deal with the parents and deal with all of you. Guess what? Two middle fingers of what people think about me now, right? Yeah. You like me, you don't like me. You want to work with me, you don't want to work with me. I mean, you want me to make you money, I'll make you money. You don't want me to, that's fine. Work with somebody else. 8,000 real estate agents in the St. Louis area. I'll give you the numbers of other real estate agents to call if you want. I mean, I'm happy that way. So, but a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid of, oh my goodness, I can't do this, or I can't step into the gym because I'm overweight. I'll care what people. Who cares what people think? They're gonna think that about you when you're walking on the sidewalk, whether or not you're in the gym.
Nobody at the gym ever thinks that. Most people at the gym are proud of you for being there.
But they think that.
But people think that. Yes,
they think that. They think they're afraid to go into the gym. I mean, I went in and I was like gross and flabby, and I wasn't like overweight but I just didn't look fit. And even though I did cardio 7 days a week, but I went in there and I busted my butt, and I had people praising me, and it was great. And now I look like I belong there, but I did it.
People are afraid to. It's an excuse.
They're afraid to, and you have to let that go. You have to let that go. I mean, agents will walk into listing consultations and they'll put their head down. I didn't get the listing, and why didn't you get the listing? Because your broker is falling on the sword of 6% that you still have to collect, because that's not the case these days. So go to a different brokerage. Well, I can't. Yes, you can. I did it. Yeah. You go to a different brokerage, or Yeah, I mean, just make the change. Figure out what the issue is and make the change. Walk into the gym. Go to a different brokerage. Tell
it's
your
easier to make
tell
the
your
excuse.
family members, I'm not going to make dinner for you on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights until 7:30 or 8 p.m. because I'm going to be lifting at the. I mean, whatever. Whatever, make the change. And a lot of people don't, and they don't pivot, and they don't make the change, and they do make the excuses. And really, more people just need to start giving the two middle fingers. They just really do, because you know how many people don't like me? There are so many people.
I could write a book on me.
I could
I'm
write
okay
a
with
book.
that.
Let's
Yeah.
write a book
Yeah,
together.
we
There
go.
are people that say stuff about me that isn't true. People
People have to validate their insecurities.
Oh, yes,
that way.
100%. And I'm the nicest person ever. I mean, maybe I'm not. All right, maybe I'm not. But
You are.
don't give me a
You-
reason
yeah,
to. I mean,
yes, exactly.
you want to pull the B word out of me? I can be
Yeah,
that
yeah.
person, but I'm really not.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be around the saying. If you're around 5 smokers, you become the
Yes.
6th,
Smoke, yep.
right? So be around the people that lift you up and support you and help you maneuver and help you do the things. And if you don't know how to do or what to do, find the people that know how to do and what to do. I mean, I had a real estate coach for many years. I got into real estate and I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I got a coach because I wanted to know more. And I had those people lift me up and show me the way, and be around those people that lift you up and show you the way. And some people say, oh, I can't, or woe is me. Well, you can. So it's just a matter of you have to literally just do it.
Yes. No, and
literally just do it.
I've had that conversation with so many people that'll come to me and be like, hey, man, I know you got these businesses. Here's my idea. And they'll lay it all out. And I'm like, damn, that's way more laid out than mine were. I was like, sounds like you just need to go for it. Oh, I knew you were going to say that. I can't. And I'm like, it sounds like you're making excuses. I was like, really and truthfully, I just did it. I just said, I'm going to do this. I went out, people would be like, well, what were all the steps? I don't even remember. I just did it.
Yes.
I just was like, I'm done with this. I'm going to go do that. I wanted a podcast. A guy I knew posted, said, hey, I'm looking for a guest on my podcast. I sat in a chair you're sitting in. And before I left, I drug Joey away from another client. I'm like, bro, we got to talk because I want one of these. And because I had tried to do my own thing, my computer, I'm just not good at it. And it's been a game changer. Next month is 1 year officially, but I think 2 more weeks, 14th or 15th will be 1 year officially recording. I come in here once a week, do a podcast, and I do it for like what you said, if you're around 5 smokers, you become the 6th. I get so much great conversation like we're having right now every week when I come in that it's addicting. Like if I could afford the production value, I'd do one of these a day.
You're pulling the positive energy off of the people that are across the table from you.
Well, but you're just having a good conversation with someone. You get surrounded, especially when you're people like us that are driven and are not making excuses. I feel like you get surrounded so much by the excuses or the people that are making them, or at least I do with, well, my son's struggling with martial art or struggling with this and this, but I just don't think we're going to pursue martial arts. I think he'd like basketball better. Okay, have you seen a huge, oh yeah, we've had a huge improvement in the 2 months we've been here. Why would you not get, well, the money or whatever. And it's like, money's not an object. You can make the money for the program if it really meant something to you. But people are so excuses. It's the easy way out. I can just make an excuse. Well, did you give this? Well, no, that's easily fixable, but they want to make an excuse, not look at a solution. And I've become obsessed with anytime I do something or do something wrong or it doesn't work right, or say I have a group intro at my school and I talk to everyone and half the people don't enroll. I'm like, what didn't I do today? I don't sit there and say, oh, deadbeats, SOBs didn't want to sign up. I'm like, okay, I presented something wrong. I showed something wrong because I know the product I have is valuable. What did I do? Or what could I have done better? Mm-hmm. Not in a negative aspect, but just how could I have improved on that? Because my results show I did something wrong. I don't just say, oh, they're broke, or oh, they're I say.
Well, sometimes it's the right place at the right time.
Yes.
And sometimes
it is.
There are valid reasons.
Yes.
And I mean, my son he played every sport I think you can think
yes.
of, like it probably for 1 year, one season, sometimes
yeah.
2 seasons. I mean, it's just he did everything, and it just wasn't for him, and that's
Exactly.
okay. I'm not going to dump money into something that's not for him, and
Exactly.
it's just so sometimes it's a matter of facts, and sometimes it is a matter of excuses, and
it's the hard way. It's easier to make the excuse sometimes.
sometimes, yes.
No, and that was what great when we had all of our meetings is I talked to several people and I agreed with some. I'm like, I don't think it is for your child. I don't think this is their thing. And I had other parents come in. I'm like, dude, this is their thing. And they're like, yeah, we see it too. We want to do we have a competition team where they get a little bit more training, get to tournaments and stuff. It's separate from regular program. I was like, I would love to see them on the comp team if it's something that you can manage because and like I explained to them, it's not really a money thing. It's a time.
It's a time and energy
Yes.
commitment.
And I break it down for them and we have those honest conversations. But there's just things I see with people in life. It's just so quick. It's so easy to make that excuse and to blame it on something external instead of taking that look inside and saying, okay.
Well, it's easy to make the excuse, but sometimes the outcome is more difficult. Like for
Yes.
me, for getting up and doing whatever you need to do, sometimes it's easier to just not get up and do it.
Yes.
But guess what? The next day, it might have been hard for you to do it, but the next day it might be hard for the result of you not doing it. So, again, life is always hard, but in a different way for different people.
Pick your hard.
Pick your hard. That's right.
Pick your hard.
Pick your hard.
But like you said too, you got a coach when you're in real estate.
Yes.
I did that last year.
He was an amazing coach, and I don't have him anymore, but I still think about him. He's my favorite coach ever, one of my favorite persons ever, and even though he doesn't coach me, I mean, I coached with him for many years.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean part of him is like always right here and here, so I feel like I know what I'm doing and I'm very confident in what I do, and I still need him, I probably do, but there's always a time and a place. And
I think people forget about that in business too, that if you want to learn to be better at baseball, you get a coach, you get a trainer. You want to get better at fitness and you're struggling with something, you get a trainer. You want to get everything you can do in life. If you want to get better at it, you hire a coach, you find someone that's experienced to help you.
Yes.
I hired a coach for martial arts school. I've been doing it for 15 years. People are like, 15 years, you're going to hire a coach? I'm like, yeah. Once we get to a size, I kind of fumble it. We get to a certain size. I've never had the school that big. I make some mistakes. Things don't work. I found someone that's been there, done that. Game changer.
yes,
Huge game changer. And it's but when you tell people you hired a coach, sometimes they look at you funny. It's like, well, but if you're on a team,
but you're already successful, why do you need a coach? Well, because I want to be more successful, or I want to take it to the next level. And if your level is way down here and the next level for you is just right here, maybe you need something different. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but it can be a fitness app. I use a fitness app. I don't have a fitness coach. I just walk in the gym and open an app and I do it. But sometimes it is a person, and then you go from here, maybe from here to here, you need a different person.
Yes.
And so it's just, again, it's just a matter of just doing it and figuring out what you need and finding the people that'll help you get there.
Yes. And I think that's something that more people, not saying more people need to hire a coach, but more people need to be that open-minded to the fact that if sometimes you need to move up. Sometimes they're making those excuses. I feel like, I don't know, I've always been paranoid that if I make one excuse, then it's going to turn to two, then it's going to turn to three. Then all of a sudden I'm going to wake up one day with a whole life full of excuses and nothing obtained, and setting that example for my children and those around me that I've noticed has become, once passing 40, was like more ingrained.
Well, you realize you have less time to do the things that you wanted to do, that you had 20 years to do them and then you didn't do them.
Exactly.
So.
And you start doing that. And I think it's just something with mortality that we start grasping. And some of us, I think some people get depressed and make excuses, and I think other people rise to the top and rise to the challenge.
Yeah, agreed.
That is awesome. Well, it has been amazing sitting down with you. That was over an hour.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was great. You killed it. That was awesome. So I appreciate you coming on. If somebody wanted to find you, to hire you to help make them money on selling or buying a home, how would they find you?
So I am on all of the social medias.
Okay.
So you can find me at Kathi McKenzie Realtor. exceptionalhomesstlouis.com is my website. I work for Keller Williams Realty West, right in O'Fallon, Missouri. You're welcome to call that office, or you can contact me directly. I'm a texter, so you can call me or text. But 636-696-6794. Happy to have a conversation with anybody about anything. Just give me a call. I'm a friendly person.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate it.